much waste of our time, I think I want to start with the first speaker, Comrade Bilal Adamu. Please, youth are always the problem. Youth are the element of social vices. Why is this so, sir? Mr. Bilal, over to you.
Okay, that's a tough one. Let's start by defining youth. Now, we understand that youth are those below 24 years, or starting authority. I mean, like 40. So when you say and you analyze the whole context of youth in Nigeria, it's totally wrong that we speak. Now, the majority of the youth we actually call youth are not the problem. The middle age and the more elderly ones are the main problem in Nigeria. However, let's start by discussing education. In the 60s, in the 70s, most of our parents, they benefited a very good educational sector. They had a scholarship all the way to tertiary institutions all over the world and everything. But now we have an allocation of a budget of about 7%, which can hardly cater for anything. Now, this 7% is supposed to service primary level. Then the moderators please mute others that are interfering. I think we can mute everyone. That way we don't have this interference. I think we can start from your end. There's a lot of interference. I can barely hear myself. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, as I was saying, there's still a lot of interference. I really appreciate if you can mute. Okay, as I was saying, we have. Oh my gosh. We're not much here, so we should just.
Sorry, whoever is speaking now, you can unmute yourself. Everyone has been muted. Sorry about that noise.
Okay, thank you. As I was saying, 7% of our budget it goes on education. And when you talk about education and you want to analyze the whole situation, we talk about all the public schools. That's the local government public schools, from the primary education, secondary, technical colleges, colleges of education, the tertiary institutions, polytechnic, universities, and even lecturers that would want to go further and do their PhD. That means the whole budget, it's 7%. That's what we put in on education. This can really, I don't think this will go a long way in doing anything. It can't even service anything. That's for a start. Now, when you look at those people that pass this budget, these are persons that benefited from a very rich educational sector, and they were even getting meals. I saw a meal ticket from ABU's area in the 70s, and you'd be surprised what it means to have a meal ticket. We can't even have those things. Now the tuition fee in tertiary institutions, in secondary schools, it's a Herculean tax for parents to pay, forcing them to think of other avenues or other vices or other things on how they can make a living. Now, when you look at this budget, it's a main reason why we have about, in the north here, over 13 million children out of school. Now, what is the fate of those children? Obviously, they get manipulated into things like crime, banditry, Boko Haram, and the likes. Now, we also have very low moral decadence. In the past, you could easily call a child and just give him little money to go buy you something, someone you've never met before, and he comes back with your money and he gets you what you asked for. If you try it now, the kids of nowadays are quite different. They are not our generation. So there's been a lot of moral decadence from the parents. We have parents that bribe their way and make sure their kids get promoted. We have parents that sponsor exam cheats. We have parents that go as far as making sure that their children inherit their own jobs. After spending millions and sending them in Ivy League schools and everything, they come back heartbreak and still with nothing to offer. So it's a societal problem, but basically the chunk of it all lies on our leaders, those that are above 50, 60. They had a system that was running well. They had a system that was very functional. And we are inheriting this system that it's very poor. I don't know how many of us can actually afford to send our kids to the Ivy League schools. I have schools here in Abuja and other places in Lagos and the rest that tuition fee go as high as 5 million for a term. So how do you afford such quality education? We keep spending money on other things that are really not relevant. But if you really want the future, if you want your country to become great, you should invest in education. That's the future. So when you talk about youths and everything, let's talk about the people that have placed the youth in this situation. Hello, yes?
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
I thought someone was saying something. I said, when you talk about youths, let's talk about the people that have placed us in this quagmire, the leaders that are sitting down. Look, let me explain this to you and break it down for you to understand a little bit better. If you're going to pass a budget, the budget is going to go through the ministry. The ministry will do that. The director of finance, the directors, the permanent secretaries, and the rest. It now goes from that desk to another desk and another desk, and then before it comes to the House of Rep, before it goes to the Senate. So that means each and everybody has seen this blueprint. They have seen the budget allocated for these sectors, and eventually have approved it before the legislators and the Senate will sign this bill, before they will sign the budget. So everyone is very comfortable with how much they are allocating on education. And people are complaining that the standard of education has dropped. People are complaining that the lecturers, the teachers can't even teach properly, and students come out half-baked. What do you expect? You see, education is the main orientation for every individual. Let's talk about education from different angles, whether it's technical education or the formal education and the likes of them. We all need funding for this thing to work properly. It's the same problem we're having with the health sector, budgeting about 8% on health. All these things are unacceptable, and that's where the main problem is. I was listening to an interview from the state governor of Kaduna State, where he said he would have been an Amajiri or probably an illiterate if not for the educational system in those days, and his father sent him to school. Then these are people that got education free. As a matter of fact, I can tell you that when they were in secondary school, they were paid to go to school. I had an interaction with a man recently, and he was telling me that the house he's living in, he bought the house with his secondary school allowances. He bought the land there and he built on it with his secondary school allowances. He didn't go beyond secondary school, but his English is so polished, you wouldn't even believe that he had not gone beyond secondary school. Here we have students or even undergraduates in tertiary institutions that can't even spell or write their name. That is the main problem we're having. The youths are not really the problem, it's the orientation. If I give you a small example right now, if, for instance, a child is a herdsman, he grows up learning how to take care of the cow, how to move and on different terrains, how to survive the forest, how to do all the things. This is his form of education that he has received. Now, if the same child were to grow up with a father that is teaching him how to fix AK-47, how to kidnap people, that's the kind of education that he gets. So when we start talking about education, it's the main problem. It's not the youths. You're teaching your children to take drugs. We have parents that abuse drugs. That's the kind of education that your child grows up seeing these kind of things and he picks it up. So when you start putting the blame on youths, I don't think the youths are the problem. I think we, the middle class and the elderly ones, are the problem, because if you're a youth, you're below 24. Most of them are actually living with their parents. So let's be honest, even the youth minister is not a youth minister for starters. So why do you say him youths? Thank you.
Actually, what you said is true. The last administration, I was opportune to be very close to someone close to the Minister of Youth and Sport. But unfortunately, I didn't see anything like impacting youth in that ministry. I don't know what they are doing there, to be sincere. But my next question is going to Miss Mary Thompson. Madam, as a woman and a civil servant, also a teacher, the first speaker touches area of immorality. What do you think, what's the role you think you play, a woman can play to save the youth of today?
I want to thank the first speaker. He virtually captured everything. the role of the women in ensuring that the vulnerable youth today are given a redirection, because I think that's what we need. Things are almost falling apart. But I want to use the words of Mr. Mazi Ezoke when he said repositioning. I actually took note of that word. What we're looking at now is how to reposition the youth, because actually things are falling apart. The role of the women cannot be overemphasized when it comes to the youth. We know that naturally that the women should be at the driver's seat of guiding the youth. The reason is nature has made it so. The reason is that they are more close to them. The reason is that the men are always out there sourcing for food, and the women have a position in repositioning the youth. But you find out that today, just like the first speaker noted, you find out that today, the women appear to be corrupt. The women appear to be kind of non-committant to their duties as women. For example, I've been in a jam center where a woman came with her son, a very grown-up son. And he said, I don't want this young man to enter the exam hall. I want him to go through NDA. I want a score about 250. I just want somebody that can do it. I will pay. I was surprised that this was coming from a woman, and she brought the boy to the jam center. That is about jam. What about WAEC? We see situations where mothers will come to tell you that their child cannot write. In fact, I saw a particular one that said, I want you to write the junior WAEC for my daughter. I don't want her to write. I don't want her to pass. I quickly reminded her that the junior WAEC certificate, to me, does not have a place in Nigeria. I haven't seen any usefulness of that certificate. And why do you want to start corrupting your daughter from this point? And so what we're saying is that women on their own haven't done anything, but it is actually our duty. It's actually the duty of the women because coddling or training a child starts from infants. It starts from when you start breastfeeding that child. That is when you start instilling discipline. That's when you start instilling virtues into a particular child. And when you have failed your duty at that point, the child grows up and joins the society. The society on its own is so corrupt. Everything about Nigeria, I can say boldly that everything about Nigeria is seems that we groom corruption. And so our children grows up and join the system. And so when you're groomed by a corrupt father or a corrupt mother or your neighbors, what do you expect a child to become? And so it is the duty of the women. The women can actually do it. The mothers can do it. They are more closer to these children. As a teacher, as a mother, as an aunt, whatever position you see yourself, it is our duty, not just to your own child. You can do it for any other person. When a child joins society, that child doesn't belong to the parents anymore. That child is now a public child. And it is our duty to caution them. It's our duty to guide them. It's our duty to teach them morals. Today, we have buried morality. We have buried morality in Nigeria such that everything goes. You tune your radio, you hear different kinds of news. You see different kinds of activities about women who even endanger the lives of these youth. On the radio the other day, they told us that a child, a mother rather, has killed the housemaid. I don't really know how that story was, but we found out that things are really falling apart. But it is still the role of the women. The men might be excused at this point, but it is still the role of the women to do everything to reposition the youth. Because with the way things are going, when the society is bad, it refers back to the family. So the family is the first stage of socialization. Just that's what we learned in social studies. And the women on their own should start off this duty because nature has placed that duty in their hands. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mary Thompson. Mr. Comrade Daramola Tayo, I want to ask you this question, please. this issue of non-inclusion of youth in the policy making and governance, where do you think the problem is coming from? Thank you. Hello? Comrade Dayo. I think Comrade Daramola is not in the house. Let me go back to Bilal Adam Halilu.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead. Did
Hello,
you get
can you
my
hear
question?
me? Hello.
Yes.
Okay, can you hear me now? Thank you very much. So,
Yes.
right again, I really want to appreciate you all again for having me back on the program. I want to appreciate Mr. Habu Magairo, my older brother, Mr. Hayola Fash, for selecting me to be part of this program. I was a little bit surprised when he selected me part of the loads of intellectual that are in political panorama to be part of this program. Yeah, actually, back to your questions, you made mention of youth inclusiveness in policy and program. Yeah, if I could recall very well what Mr. Billard talked about youth involvement when he was talking about most of our fathers that fought for the political liberation movement in their youthful age, you will be surprised that most of these men are actually made to move. But okay, let us take it back to the run where we have our first major political party, which was established by Albert Macaulay in 1936, if I'm right. Then back to Mr. Shoshi Vagor, which established youth movement, that is youth movement in Nigeria. That's the first, and that's a youth political party, youth political movement. You can see that these people are actually making move. But back to our generation, I don't think our youth are honestly ready. I think we are easily fiddled away with wave of civilization or globalization. We are too lazy to take challenges. We are too lazy to take challenge of change. If we are really ready, I think by now we should have a very by youth fighting for state legislations, fighting for at least maybe local government chairmen. At least we should have been living right now. But in the case where you are not having these people, you are not having the youth on board fighting for these things. That means there are political elites, that is the grandfathers that are the hem of affair, will not continue to take us seriously. Now, thereby, we just continue to use us as a bodyguard, youth wing in a political party, and sometimes the highest we can achieve in governance is special advisor. That is what we continue to see. So I think what we are having now is the youth are not really ready. Most time we are just fiddling away with frivolities. We prefer. I'm sorry to say this. We are seeing how cybercrime is taking over our youth. We have seen how prostitution is taking over our youth militancy. You can see the crop of insecurity we are having around the country. This is as a result of, let me say, proper misguidance or maybe say misorientation. We lack the orientation. We are not thinking ahead of our future. We are only particular about now. I think for us to be at the helm of leadership, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. Pick up things. Let us start working now. This is where these people start taking us seriously, thereby appointing us to critical sectors in the economy, and of course, subsequently, we have better chance of attaining or grabbing power or political leadership in the future. I think that's what I can say for now.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Daramola Tayo.
Thank you,
Now,
sir.
I think I will hand over the microphone to Enforcer. Enforcer, are you around? Please, Enforcer, unmute your microphone and talk to us. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay. Okay. Good. I am running late and I'm on a busy schedule, but I just joined in, and the network has been bad, so I've not been able to catch up with what the discussion is. So I don't know how do I come on now. The network is terrible, and I can't hear myself or even hear what other discussants were saying. Hello.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
If there's any topic,
the topic of discussion is youth and the future of Nigeria. So
okay.
I don't know whether you have question to ask our guest speakers.
Okay, yes. You know, let me start with a little introduction. You see, we keep on thinking or believing that youth are the solution to Nigeria's future, to Nigeria's future, to a better future. But for me, who's the youth? It's me and you. We keep on asking, who are youth? Youth are people age grade between 13 to a certain age, 25 or thereabout. But no, anybody who can think in youthful capacity is a youth. So when we talk about youth, what is the capacity you can engage yourself in encouraging the political setting where you reside or where you belong? So that is what I see as a youth. You could have somebody who is 65 years old, but his capacity to think like a youth makes him a youth. So we need to understand that paradigm first of all. Not because I'm 18 automatically makes me a youth. You understand? So that's my point of view to calling anybody a youth and asking what is their contribution to national development. So I can't say because you are 18, 19, 20, you have no much experience. So if I say you are a youth and you are the hope of the future of the country, you're still in your teaching age, you are going to school. You get me? So that's one. Now, the role of the youth in Nigeria's development as at this moment is keenly important, but we must take cognizance of the fact that how well our youth being brought up right now. I'm in a WhatsApp group this afternoon, and somebody was saying, and Dangote will support Obaseki and support Iseyamo at the same time. And I asked the person, truthfully speaking, there are younger people on this platform reading what you are saying, and they are hoping to learn from you. How can you support such a statement? How can you bring something out like this? You're supposed to be condemning such. If somebody says something like Dangote will support, we invest his money in Obaseki and Iseyamo, how do you tolerate that? How do you accommodate that? Then the person talking is a youth, and we have younger people on that platform hoping to learn from you, and you're telling us that Dangote will do this. If you hear anybody saying such a thing, you should condemn the person that why would Dangote make such a utterance or make such a contribution? If Dangote wants to support any politician running for election, stand by one person because there should be an ideology that Dangote is supporting. So I would not buy it from that person saying Dangote is supporting these two people and investing on both sides because his interest has to be everywhere. So now look at the youth mindset. The person talking was under 40, and in that platform we have people who are 20, 18, and thereabout in that group. So now the contribution of the youth is the context is what they have to deliver and bring on board at every point in time. What do they encourage? What do they support? What informs the youth? Hello. Hello.
Go ahead.
Okay, you get me right. So what is the context of what the youth is bringing on board in this revolution we are always talking about? So I think my point of view to that is, if I'm to throw a question to you guys now, who really is this youth and what is the context the youth is bringing to to the political scene that we can seek to engage in driving this country forward? Hope my question was clear.
Yes, it's very clear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Enforcer. Bilal, can you answer all these questions?
Sorry, did you say something?
Yes, Bilal, did you get the question from Enforcer?
I think his question was, what do the youth have to offer?
Yes.
Yes, that
okay.
was my question. What's the content? Yeah.
Okay, let's start by saying, I like being pragmatic, so let's look at the statistics. We have a population of about 205 million, or even way more than that, because the last time we had a census, we're just approximating, so plus or minus. And
sorry.
this number,
Adewale, please off your microphone. Adewale, please off your microphone. Thank you. Continue.
a large chunk of this number are the youths. Let's take the Nigerian context of the youths. That means people in their 40s and their 20s and 18 and above and 30s. So let's Nigerian context of the youths. That's about over 70% of the electorate are the youths, male, female, and the likes of them. They are the youths. Now that's a very huge number, but let's look at it. You say, what do they have to offer? They have a great deal to offer, because democracy is about numbers. So if we put the numbers together, the youths will definitely have a leader that is one that everybody will want. Definitely, he's not going to be an old man in his 70s or even in his 60s. So the youth have a lot to offer. But then, for the youth to achieve that, they have to make lots of sacrifices. Let me give you a small statistics. This will really blow your mind and it will scare everyone. Now, when the time for election comes, before election, the youth, especially those in tertiary institutions, unemployed, graduates, etc., will listen to your manifesto, will listen to your ideas. They'll give you all the support and everything, and they really want to vote for you. They are willing to vote for you. But then, they just, at the end of the day, when it's time for INEC to recruit staff, they recruit these same youths as the ad hoc staff. Now, there is no way that these youths that are supposed to vote will be sent to their own polling units. It's not done. And this simply means that they are going to be disenfranchised. So they don't get to vote because they are interested in 1 or 2 days job, and you get 7,000, 10,000, 20,000. Most of them don't. The recruitment process starts from the universities. It goes beyond the universities, and eventually almost every one of them, at least 3/4 of them, gets the INEC out of job for just 7,000 and the rest. So already the politicians, those that understand the game, have already won. So when the time for election comes, you see about 20-something million, 30-something million, and start wondering what happened to the 200 and something million. Many of them are not capable of voting because they are underage. Then those are of age are busy doing the bidding for the INEC. Now, those that are not doing INEC bidding are being recruited by the politicians to act as touts. And then they go rig the elections and do all those things. So it starts with the youths. If everyone were to sit down and say, look, we're not going to do INEC's bidding this time around. We're going to vote. Or better still, if we should have the electoral bill signed where everyone can vote, even from the comfort of your home, I think a lot will change. A lot will change. Because the same youths working for INEC or wherever can just pick any electronic device and vote. We already have the BVN. We already have so many things that have already captured our data. So I don't even know why the electoral bill, the amendment is waiting for the president's signature. So there are a lot of things the youth have to offer. It's the same youths that have to step up. Some of us should run for offices, present manifestos. We know the pain. So there's no point trying to let someone else that live in glass houses to come and empathize with us. We know our pain. Let's pick a nobody, someone without a political godfather, and get him elected. Someone that has a very good manifesto. Get him elected into office and see if Nigeria won't change. Now, I think the other person, is it Mazi, started this submission by talking about the achievements of our leaders. Most of our leaders made these achievements in their 20s and 30s. The Aguirre, the Gowon, the Tafawa Balewa, the Obasanjos, the Buharis, and the rest. They did that in their 20s. I did a small write-up talking about the cognitive development in relation with the age of a person. And I said, look, the Buhari you're seeing can never give you what a 30-year-old Buhari will give you. Because at a certain age, you know, it's more like you start becoming a baby. You start becoming a baby. You're learning all over again. At a point, you start learning how to walk. You start learning how to talk. So at that age, your cognitive development, your cognitive ability, it's really as little as that of a 5-year-old child. So how do we do this all over again and elect old men to come and rule over us? The ideas are not there. They don't have anything reasonable to offer. They're all interested in retirement and as much money as they can steal and just go for vacations and marry extra wives and the rest. So it's the whole responsibility is on us for us to identify youths with integrity, youths that have a very good vision for the country and come together collectively and vote such people into office. And the same youths are supposed to shun violence, are supposed to shun electoral, what's it called? The shun whatever. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
So the same youth,
We can hear you.
I think my network, the same youth are supposed to, things like electoral violence, they're supposed to shun thuggery, they're supposed to shun things like all these negative other negative vices. In the end of the day, if we just make that sacrifice, choose not to work as ad hoc staff for INEC, try as much as possible to let our votes count, you will find the figures will go high. We have elections being won with about 13 million, 15 million votes. So imagine if the youth were to come together, how many million votes are we going to give a young man to take over the affairs of Nigeria? So we don't think deep. We always think about stomach infrastructure, as they put it. We're more interested in the next 5,000, 1,000 naira we're going to get. But the news is the 1,000, 5,000 naira INEC is going to give you is not enough to enslave your future. We're enslaving 4 years of our life because of what they are giving us. And at the end of the day, we'll be the ones looking for how to get free education, how to get good health care, how to get good roads, electricity, power, and the rest. Election, it's big business for them. And this is the plan. If INEC doesn't have enough staff, then it's about time we do electronic voting. There's nothing stopping us from doing electronic voting. You don't need much ad hoc staff. In short, it's just a waste of money. We don't need to print all those papers and everything. We all have our voters card. We have the machines that will authenticate. See, it's time we tell ourselves the truth. As long as we keep quiet and we let these people play with our intelligence, nothing is going to change. We have to push for the electoral bill. We have to push for it. It has to be signed. And I'm not talking of being signed tomorrow, next tomorrow. It has to be signed now. That's the beginning of it. If they don't do that, then they don't have any interest of the youth. So everything that is happening in this country lies at the feet of the youth. That is just the truth. So the main thing they've done is they've tried to segregate us, divide us across religious and ethnic lines. Today they'll tell you you're Igbo or Hausa or Yoruba or Ijo or these. Or tomorrow they'll come and they'll tell you you're Muslim or Christian or even your atheist. Look, they don't care about that. When it comes to sharing formula, when they're sharing our monies, they don't talk about religion. They don't talk about ethnicity. They don't even talk about federal character. They do it wholeheartedly because they just feel, it's the national cake. Let's just take our own. They are just a bunch of hypocrites. They are not there to represent us. They are there to represent themselves. So the youths have to realize this. The earlier we stop bringing anything like a Northern Agenda, IPOB, or Odudua, or whatever, we come together and tell ourselves that we have one common enemy, our leaders. Most of the youths have been frustrated and are abusing drugs now. So imagine at an early age, as early as 20 something, you're already into drug abuse. You're already addicted to drugs and the rest. What future are we going to give such youths? So you can see the crime rate is based on frustration. You're going to school, and I'm telling you, the labor market is there, but there's no room for the youth to even get employed. We all know that the idle mind is a devil's workshop. So what are our leaders doing to address issues like this? Look at the little one they are doing about addressing the issue of unemployment, and we have about 774,000 local governments. Festus Keyamo, the minister, is trying to recruit people that will be employed. And the funny thing is, this employment is just going to last for a few months. But then you can see what the legislators are trying to do, rubbish him, because they want those jobs to go to their touts and their cronies. So it's about time we say it the way it is. Let's call a spade a spade. We are the problem. We are the same youths that still sell out. We'll start something now. It's still going to be a youth that will sell us out. So the youth has everything. Look, the cards are there on the table. It's up to us. The way we want to play the cards, it depends on us. So the earlier we understand that they are not interested if we kill ourselves, if we are outside Igbo, Yoruba, or we are Muslims or Christians, the better for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bilal.
Let me say something.
I can see that.
Say something.
Okay. I wanted to invite Abimbola to ask you a question, but I don't know why you are in a hurry.
You mean me?
Miss Mary.
Yes.
Yes, I wanted to call Mr. Abimbola to talk to us and ask you a question as a father, but I don't know why. I don't know what you want to say.
Okay, I wanted to do a follow-up to what the last speaker said. Is that right? If you want to invite Mr. Abimbola, you can go ahead.
Okay, go. Just go ahead. Just say your mind.
All right. Just a follow-up to what the last speaker has said. You know, while he was saying everything he was saying, I was just thinking.
I was thinking it was a question and answer session. I dropped the question. I have not seen anybody responding to it.
I want to respond to your question.
Your video is not on.
Sorry, a question and answer session. I think your question was what the youths have to offer. Am I getting that right, or was there another question?
What's the context? What's the context of the content of the youths they have to offer?
What's the context? What they have to offer?
Yes. What's the content of their context? What do they have to offer? But yes, they have everything to offer. What is that in the youth are offering, or we're expecting them to offer?
Okay.
I just went round and I tried to elaborate on the answer. A direct answer is the youth have everything to offer. The youth have the numbers. The youth comprises of intellectuals that can take Nigeria to greater places, take us away from this position we're in right now to a better place. So if you say what they have to offer, they have the numbers. We're talking about democracy here. They have the numbers to offer. If the youth decide to shun violence, if the youth decide to shun thuggery,
Thank you. Yes, I'm hearing you. Nice answers.
Hello, good evening. Can I also contribute to the question Mr. Efusa asked?
Are going to come together and they are going to synergize the activity of changing things in Nigeria. It has happened in France. It has happened in other places. I don't see why it can't happen here. We all have to sacrifice certain things. Like I said earlier on, everybody going for the INEC ad hoc job and the rest is just wasting his vote. So we have to stop. Sorry, you want to say something?
Yes, I actually want to come in there.
Can I say something to this, please?
Mr. Bilal, just hold on.
Let's hear from Mary.
Can I say something to this, please? Okay, thank you very much.
Just hold on, please. Let's Miss Mary talk, please.
Okay.
Mary, go ahead, please.
Okay, I think the summary of everything that the last speaker has said is just one word. And that one word is non-inclusion of the youth in mainstream politics. Non-inclusion of the youth in mainstream politics. Now, let me say, if we want to boycott INEC recruitment during elections, how do we do it? In Nigeria, the only thing that is functional, that will be active, that the general public will comply with is a policy. And when there is no policy, you can just speak from the door of your house, you can speak from your bedroom, and it won't make any sense. So, remedially, I want to say that our participation in politics should start now. Our refusal to be ad hoc workers during elections should start now. We have a medium to carry out that, and that medium is social media. We cannot possibly say how many government policies that have been cancelled through our voice in the social media. That is the only tool we have at the moment, because when you check the composition of the National Assembly, I don't know how many persons there that are 35 years. Looking at our Nigerian policy on national policy on youth, the specification says 18 to 35 years. And so when you go to the National Assembly, I don't know how many persons that are 35 years there that will speak your mind, that will represent you, that will sit there in your own interest, in the interest of the youth. They are not there. And so what they do there is to make policies that will favor them. And then how do we come in? How do we get ourselves involved? We have the social media. I know that there's some policies, the policy on that was wavering about social media bill. I think it was our outcry in the social media that actually brought that bill down. And so the moment is now for us to start using the social media now to start campaigning against using us during elections as outcry, but looking at the fact that has disenfranchised us. I agree with the speaker when he said that, because at the moment you see electoral officer, you see PO1, PO2, PO3, PO4. Okay, these are youths. It's either you're serving as the party agent, or you're serving as ad hoc worker, or you're serving as a tout, stealing ballot boxes or other. So at that point, our number is practically reduced. I think it is just a tactic. So it is now that we can start. The time is coming. 2023 is by the corner, but we can start now to start our campaign. Tell them we don't want to be part of the ad hoc work. We want to go out. We want to vote. We want to hear them. We want to organize a public debate for all of them contesting. Are you a House of Assembly member? Whatever position you're contesting, we want to organize a debate. This is what we can do. As a matter of fact, I'm talking to you, Mr. Abu Maigoro. I think with your capacity, we can achieve this. We have to set up, let it be a group. If we can achieve it in some states of the country, let's do it. Let us be a pro-political group. That our issue is that we don't want the youth to be included. It has to be action. We have been talking and talking and talking. This time, action must be there. If not, these men will continue. They will continue recycling. They will continue revolving. They will continue to do what they have. You look at Empower. Empower opened their portal. In 1 week time, they were recording thousands of applicants. That is to tell you that the 53% of Nigerian population, which is the youth, all of them are idle, doing nothing. And when you are idle and doing nothing, you resort to crime. It's just that, because you must engage yourself. And since you don't have any positive thing to engage yourself with, you engage yourself negatively. Crime must be there. We are just vulnerable. These are people who to change a lot of things are not because we have relegated, because government doesn't make policies that will favor us. What's a development of the 2020 budget? What can you do? In fact, they have no plan for the youth. And so it is time for the youth to sit up. Let's use the social media. Let's use formation of groups to speak. They will hear us. They will know that we have risen. They will know that we have realized that we are actually relegated. With this, we can make a way for. Let's just not stop. Let's stop talking about them theoretically. It's time for practical. And we're not going to be violent. We're not going to revolt violently, but we can use that social media. It has been given in our PEMS to use it to change a lot of things. If we launch out a campaign now, by 2023, we'll have a positive result. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mary Thompson. Mr. Tayo, are you online? You wanted to say something before Mary Thompson came in. Comrade Tayo Olarawaju.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Let me respond to what Mr. Mr. Etabo, sorry for that. What he have actually said. He was trying to let us know what the youth have to offer if actually we are in charge of the political leadership of this country, and therefore he is trying to let us know the position or who the youth are really here. I think it will be a little bit helpful if we shift our focus to the conceptual framework of what youth are really here. For more indication, there's no general or universal accepted definition of the youth. We have various organizations like the United Nations and even some specialized agencies like UNESCO under the United Nations, and they have given their different age differences on who stand in this category of youth. And I'm very sure as well, different nations of the world under their constitutions have pegged different age groups for who youths are. So, however, in a way of making my personal conceptual clarification, I will say youths are a group of individuals with distinguished physical characteristics that make them unique and develop passion for realizing goals and objectives. So I would say the youth are energetic, they're vibrant, they're innovative, courageous, and at the same time they are unstable and sometimes vulnerable. Looking back to history, if you look at Nigeria right from 1958 to this present moment, we know that youth constituted more than half of Nigeria's population. That's a situation that described there as a big asset and a strong force to reckon with in actualizing the potential for meaningful growth and development. The other time I was discussing with some of my friends about the same issues we raised there when he was talking about what has youth really contributed or what have they really done. And I was trying to let him understand that we have, apart from health sector where we have been passive, we have banking sector, we have communication, we have entertainment, which is really contributing meaningfully to the Nigerian economy. So even as we speak now, the government is trying hard to make sure the youth are well involved in agriculture. That's a way to make that sector more productive. Do you understand? So in a way, I would say we for a nation to develop, for a nation to develop, we need vast and productive population. We need to invest in knowledge. We need education. We need innovative minds. We need physical, social, and knowledge infrastructure at all ranks. So these are what things youth can offer. This is what leads to development. This is what we can have for us as a nation to move on. If you are not active in innovation, if you are not improving our knowledge, if you don't have the education we desire to move as a nation, there is no way we can continue or develop. This is what youth stand for in a nation, and this is what we are not really getting. Do you understand? So if at all we have a little means to have or hijack a political leadership, we can actually make sure that these things are well done. This is the way we can continue. This is where we can start talking about human capital development. This is where we can start talking about the real infrastructure development, social development at all ranks. Do you understand? So I think for you to hijack political leadership, it is very, very important because it will help this country in a very much great deal. This is what I can say for now about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daramola.
Yes,
Mr. Abimbola.
Please, I don't know if I can talk, please. I don't know if I can talk.
No, just hold on, please. I want to invite Abimbola to talk to our guests. Please, Mr. Abimbola, on your microphone and talk to us. Thank you very much.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everybody. So my name is Abimbola anyway, like Abu have just said. Anyway, my definition of youth is a little bit different from what I've been heard all across the board. My own definition stems from people in the system with mobility to emancipate solution to emerging public issue. That's my own social definition of the word youth. It's not about when you reach 80, 90, or whatever. Youth in you start when you start doing something that can impact on the system. Then you start developing these skills until when people start to realize, oh, this is somebody, this is a force, That is my own definition of the word youth. Now, you asked me a question about what will I say on the youth involvement in governance. This is a very, very difficult question to answer. Where will I start from? If I can't get the definition of the youth, how will I be able to advance any reason for them coming up to be included? My own little factor, which I just phantom out of my own little reasoning, is poverty and corruption. That has been very endemic in our system. Poverty in the sense that when you lack the means of doing anything, then you'll be corrupt. And when you have a corrupt mind, I mean, every other thing will go, I mean, nothing will move properly for you. We parents should start from that very end at home. We should start from our position of being the head of the family, looking at everything our children or our child does at any particular point, then following them down to school, to their recreation centers, to whatever they do until they leave our board for whatever, for whatever they want to do in their life. You won't say a youth is a youth or leave him to anything he's doing. Youth sometimes they need, what is called chastisement. But I'm not supporting that we should chastise our children. They are not our enemies, they are not our slaves. But we should give them encouragement or advise them, bringing them closer to us more than ever. That is when you will know the quality of the person that is living under you. Not when you come home, at the very late end of the day, and you start saying, oh, I was late in office, sorry about that, there's very little I can do. Okay, this is your money for the keep, this is your money for this, that, for shopping and this, and you leave. A good father should be able to sit around the parent, the family as a whole, the mother there, the children there, ask them about what they feel about their personal life, their relationship in school, with the teacher, with the children, with everybody. It is from this very little hand that we can then transform into the society. Because they said charity begins at home. It is the duty of everybody to see that we bring our children around us so that they can become a better product for the society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abimbola.
Hello.
Our speakers talked about youth involvement in politics. I remember our politics is very expensive. If you ask a young man, why are you not contesting? He will tell you that he doesn't have money to contest.
Yes.
So, Mr. Bilal, please, I want to ask you, Mr. Bilal, how can we solve this problem?
I wish I could say something before Mr. Bilal comes on board.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, he has the floor already. It's no problem.
Okay, I actually asked that question. What is the context the youth have to offer in the content they are delivering to the political scene in Nigeria? There's one big gap many people have discussed, but I failed to discuss. The youths actually are supposed to bring on an ideology. You know, when they were in their teen age, they were being taught this, taught that, told how to do this, morals and norms. But when you get to your teen age, your youthful age, you're supposed to be impacting an ideology. And most of the time, you forget or attempt to convert the youth into an SPV, a special purpose vehicle, for conveying political things or XYZ. Totally wrong. If you look at modern democracy, the role of the youths is in how their ideologies have been strengthened to impact the environment where they live in. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. We believe the youth is the future of tomorrow. We believe the youth is one that will snap ballot box. We believe the youth is the one that will do INEC registration. The youth is this and that. No, we've continually made that mistake and failed to understand the role of a youth in the society, politically, economically, socially. the work of a youth, first of all, is to manifest the ideology which he was impacted upon as a teen. So you keep on expressing that until when you are ready to exit this thing. So I found so many of us looking at the youth as far as somebody who should be able to deliver something beyond what is not expected of him. But in Nigeria or other places, you should look at it very well. What is the ideology the youths have towards whatever goal or mission they have to deliver to the polity they exist in? We've not been able to find that. So that's why I asked that question. What is the context of the content the youth have to deliver? Someone said everything. Someone said numbers. Someone said their role in political whatever. But what is the ideology behind the numbers? What is the ideology behind everything that the youth have to offer? So I'm in a way trying to answer that question to make us understand what is the ideology behind the youth. Because if we want to focus on how to get something out of the youth today, we need to know what they know. That is the context in their contents. Naturally, they come with a content because they're in their youthful age. But now, what is the context of their content? What is the ideology in their deliverables? Have we informed those ideologies? So we need to understand the role of the youth in society, especially in politics, before we start thinking of how we can use them. And if we're to use them, what do they know? What is the knowledge that has been impacted in them? Like if you see the American young man, he's always telling you, America is number one. America is this, my country is the greatest, my country. He has an ideology about his country. Go to Britain, the same thing. Are we having the same ideology in Nigeria? So now when you engage such a youth, he's talking about the ideology the politician sent him to go and hijack ballot box. Different from the other man who is trying to protect votes. Different from the other man who came to vote for his political party, or in a political discourse, what do these youths have to offer? What is their ideology? So I want us to understand our discussion going forward, knowing what is the ideology in being a youth relative to political engagement or deliverables. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Mr. Abu.
Fosa.
Yes. If I can just quickly chip in for just a second on what Mr. Efosa just said or mentioned now.
Okay.
Well, definitely, I mean, what is the core ideology? We must all accept that we are operating a system that hasn't got any ideology. We haven't got it in our system, in our political setting. If anybody is saying we have it, we are only deceiving ourselves. Anyway, that's for that. Now, there's a concept which is called self of self. This is one of the, international law, concept. Self of self. It is when individuals start to think of, who am I in this system? What can the system offer me? What can I do to the system? And how much am I being recognized within this system? If you are able to identify within a system, you get yourself within the structure, you are recognized, and you are able to do things, and the system is able to do things for you in exchange. That is when the self of self will now start to develop, and that is when our youth can then tap from these values. And that is where this core value will start to develop. Like he said, America said, we are the first, we are the great. Where is the greatness in America? Where there is an ethnic, the visibility we have around now, everything has been distorted in America. The self of America is gone. It's gone. If they have to get it back, maybe in the next dispensation. But as matters stand now, that concept is gone out in the window. But now, in cultivating this my own self of self, it is when individual is able to actualize or to identify within the system. That is when he's able to say, oh, I'm a Nigerian. Okay, I'm proud to be a Nigerian. And this is what I am as a Nigerian. And this is what Nigeria means to me. That is when we can then know the concept of self within the system, and then be able to tap from that concept of self to self to develop our minds. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abimbola. Quickly, let me go back to my question to Mr. Bilal. You know, politics in Nigeria is very expensive. As I said, if you ask a young man, why are you not contesting? He will tell you that he doesn't have money. So how do you solve this problem? How can we go about it? Thank you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, before I answer your question, actually, let me quickly try as much as possible to clear any misconception or conceptions that arise from the submission of two great minds here. The issue of ideology, where the youths are expected to present a certain ideology. For one, no particular ideology really works. It's a combination of all other ideologies. So it's best we work with something like pragmatic criticism, where I think you can adopt what works best for everyone. You know, in every situation, you choose what works best and you apply that. That's one ideology I think will work well for even all political parties and including the youths themselves. Now, secondly, there was this issue about my other speaker's submission about definition of the youth. I think your own definition of the youth is talking about youths at heart, and that's where we get it wrong sometimes. When you talk about your orientation, and when you get to a point where you need to, that's when you feel you can do something, that's when you become a youth. That's talking about being a youth at heart. It's far from being a youth. Someone who is in his 70s all of a sudden feels he has something to offer cannot come and say based on that he's a youth, because then he feels this is okay, or maybe after my retirement this is what I can offer. We're talking about the UN standard of definition of youth, and I think we should try as much as possible not to be sentimental or try and say someone that is above 24 is a youth. Now, talking of how youth can go about this, I for one ran for office in 2019. I contested for House of Rep Kaduna South, and the reasons that are best known to me is I actually felt, you know, we were tired of having people coming there and just trying to enrich themselves, so we should do something different. And fortunately for me, I ran under a party that wasn't having any godfathers. It's ANRP, Abundant Nigerian Renewal Party. It's an organic party, no godfathers and everything. And one of the reasons I felt I should run for office was because I felt I had a very good manifesto. I had a plan, I had a vision for Kaduna South. And hopefully I was hoping that if I should carry out that vision, every other local government or constituency will take suit. And I was planning to furthermore expose the jumbo allowances and a lot of other things, misappropriation of funds that have been going on. So I ran for office. Yes, running for office is very expensive. But then when you have like minds coming together, it'll make it easy. I think for logistics and the rest, getting the nomination form and everything cost me about 800,000. And then after which I ran my own campaign based on contribution from friends and whatever I could give. Now, I felt really at a point that sitting on the fence or being in your comfort zone and complaining about things wouldn't really change much. So that's why I now stepped in and I joined the political cycle and tried to make a difference. It was a very sweet experience in the sense that I really actually had a chance to recuperate back all the monies I spent. I think when I submitted my submission, I think my statement of accounts and everything to INEC and the rest, I'd spent roughly around approximately 7 million or thereabout, those that I could account for. And this came from personal funds, and I had to dispose even my own vehicles and everything because I had faith. And the same thing, I went around, I met the youths, I shared my manifesto, but I knew those people that were going to vote for me, even though the election was rigged, those that were going to vote for me and and everything. We're all busy working for INEC. So this is why, because I've been in the field, so I think that's why I keep saying there are certain figures that really don't add up when the time comes. So I feel the issue of making everything about money, it's wrong at this point. I am very certain that, yes, the political class have made it difficult for anyone to get a ticket from a festival, but we have parties that are really good enough for someone to go and showcase himself. Like in ANRP, we had primaries. I had to give up my manifesto and the rest, and you'll be surprised. As I will speak right now, there are people that are saying, look, run for office again. We're going to donate and help out and see how it goes. When you have what it takes, when you give people a dream, a vision, and tell them, look, we can do this. It's a long step. It's a very long journey, but then it's a start for starters. So the issue of getting tickets and all that, these issues of running for office, this issue of money only comes in the big parties like the APCs and the PDPs and the likes of them, where tickets go for as high as 12 million. You know, I'm not saying someone should run for office for 0 naira. If you want to run for offices like in ANRP, if you want to contest for councillorship, it's free. You get sponsored by like minds. All you need to do is come share your manifesto, your ideas, and you have a debate, and then the best person wins. So I'm not saying there's so many like minds like that. There's so many political parties that it's all about the grassroots, it's about the people, and it's all about money. But if you want to run for office under the PDPs and the the APCs and those other political parties, it's all about the party nomination tickets, giving delegates tokens for them to vote you and everything, then that's where we're getting it wrong. So I don't really believe running for office is going to cost much. What really matters is, have you got what it takes? Do you have the willpower to withstand it? Because in going for politics now, it's really turned into a very violent thing. I know what I went through. I know the kind of threats, and not even at the point, it wasn't threats anymore. It was more like an offer. Can you collect a few million and this, and then don't run for office? So you just have to have the willpower. You have to have the integrity and try as much as possible to talk people into believing in your dreams, that you all can achieve it together. So I don't think it's about money. It has never been about money, and I don't think it's we're telling people that you can't run for office because you don't have money. It's not true. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bilal. Mr. Simon Gotenk, you're welcome to the program. And I would like to invite you to come and shed more light on the topic of discussion.
Thank you.
You're welcome to the program.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank you and Mr. Gowon for putting this forum together, and also the speakers who have already spoken. I appreciate your points, and in fact, very educative. And I'm looking at some of the things that have been discussed so far, and I want to go back to initial points raised by Mr. Bilal about education in the country. He cited a very alarming budget situation for education in Nigeria. That is about 7%, he said. And I was pondering about it, and also looking at some of the factors that actually affect our youths in Nigeria. I think it is a top-down, all-strata leadership problem. And let me explain. If you look at the leadership, when I say all-strata leadership problem, I mean the message that is sent to our education system. And all the message that goes out impacts the quality of education in Nigeria. The message about budget, which we have already heard, the message about the quality of education that our student gets, that is, look at the classrooms. How are the schools really maintained? Look at how teachers are paid. Look at how professional development for teachers are handled. Look at instructional leadership at the school. By instructional leadership, I mean the principals, the assistant principals, and all of that. Do they serve as models for teachers in their own schools? Or they just show up to check to see who is in classroom and then leave the building? Do we have principals who are really actually teaching and at some point say, okay, let me have all the teachers around and see me actually teach so that I will be a model for them. So let's look at those things. And then also we look at respect for teachers. Are teachers really respected in Nigeria? Is teaching job attractive enough for everybody to go in there? And then we also look at the tertiary education in Nigeria. Research tells us, I have shared this research some time ago, I think during one forum that you put together. But let me look at some other part of the research that we're looking at that is coming out. That is the incompatibility of tertiary education in Nigeria to the demands of the current economy. When students graduate from Nigerian university, based on the research that we have seen, is that when they go out in the world or in the market, their skills are not compatible because the curriculum provided to them does not meet the demands of the economy. So they become redundant, they become unemployed. So we get problems. So all this has to do with leadership. And we look at leadership from the federal level, budget, communication. We look at leadership from the state government levels. Do they commit a lot of money and attention to school? We look at leadership at the school level. Do the school actually do what they are supposed to do? So all of this comes together to produce the kind of students that we have. If in fact, I tell my child or my son, or I show to my child or my son in a different way that he is not important, and that in fact, his life goals are not even essential, are not even worth considering. I have already sown a seed in his heart for him to know that he is not important at all. So we communicate these messages all the way from top, all the way down. And then at the end of it, we have students who are not ready to go to universities. Or those who are ready to go, they go to university and then meet a different challenge of incompatible curriculum. So we have to deal with our education system. And then also looking at the youths, then another part that was discussed was the political socialization of our youths. I had one of our speakers saying that that the youths at the universities were kind of spoken to, and then eventually they end up being helping with elections, and they were given like 7,000 this and this, and then to help in different capacities. Then is that the kind of political orientation we want to give our youths? The orientation that actually our youths are having is what they see at the national level, what they see at the state level, what they see at the local government level. What are our politicians really doing? So what they see is what they want to go after. If our politicians are kind of demonstrating or showing corruption at the national level, at the state level, at the local government level, that's what our youth will see, and that's what they will want to do. So I can tell my son, you know what, don't steal, and then I go and steal, and then it is very conflicting. We cause a lot of cognitive dissonance to our students. So how do we solve this? We need a dedicated model. It's going to be expensive. We need a dedicated model of political forum where our kids will really, I use the word kids, where our youth will be really kind of provide the orientation they need with a very sound focus with leaders at heart, not leaders on our lips, but leaders in our heart who are really to go the whole 9 years. Like our brother just spoke, he said that going into politics is possible. So it's really possible, but we need models also who can stand with them and say, you know what, don't yield to this, don't yield to that, don't yield to this. And then also we have to tackle our educational system, and really from the grassroots, right from the top, all the way from down, to make sure that we need to do that? We need intentional support backed by strong political will to make it happen. Intentional means that the government really planned it. Political will means that they do it, they have the will to make it happen. Make schools have enough money. Make buildings of school looks good. provide current education to students, train teachers well, pay them well, hold principal accountable, but at the same time provide them with the right kind of orientation to be able to be instructional leaders in their classroom. So now, and then finally, I'm going to talk, finally we look at our youths. We need to provide support to them, mobilize them, and at the same time, what do you call it? We need to inculcate or demonstrate to them the tenacity of focus, of purpose. Tenacity. We stay with what is right and really exemplify it in all that we do and model it all through, and we need a forum to do that. So that, with that said, that will be my contribution on what is being discussed today. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Simon Goteng. Thank you for joining us. Now we are running out of time, and I think I will go to take Mr. Omo Olua as our last speaker.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, loud and clear.
Yeah, thank you so much. I am really happy to be among this conversation. I think the organ of this program, they have really done well, bringing people together so as for us to discuss way forward for the youth, majorly. I heard somebody saying maybe the youth should boycott INEC work, maybe election, during election. Permit me to disagree with that. Permit me to disagree with that, please. You see, boycotting the election or boycotting INEC job will not still solve our problem. I think on that, what we should rather ask for is for our constitution to permit everybody to vote anywhere. You are working as an INEC official, as a youth, they sent you to a polling unit, you should be able to vote there. It should not be that you must go and vote in your ward. No. You should be able to vote there. Majorly when it is federal election, presidential election. If I am from Osun State, for example, I collect my PVC in Osun State, and then in the process I travel to Kano. I should be able to vote in Kano. It's not the same Nigeria. So if the youth are on INEC duty, they should be able to vote anywhere they are. They should be able to exercise their right. So saying the youth should boycott the election, if you ask them to boycott the election, then we will do it. You see these hold leaders that we are talking about that are going to do it. So please, on that, if we can advocate for a process that will allow everybody to vote anywhere you are, and at the same time, I am happy with
Hello? I think we have lost Omo Olua. Hello?
educated youth do we have out?
Hello?
I think his network is bad.
Abu, I think his network is bad, and maybe we should end the session for now, reconvene for another time. I don't know if anybody wants to move for adoption. I think the network is bad generally. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I hear you.
Yeah,
I think we should move for adopt this, we should close this motion for this session for now, and come back on a later date.
Yes.
So I move for the.
Enforcer, can you please, Enforcer, can you move for the adoption?
Yes, I move for the to the adjournment of this meeting for another date. So someone should second me.
Seconded.
Mary.
Mary.
Okay, it was a nice one. We are chatting here.
Okay.
Abu, you can give a vote
Thank
of
you very much. Okay, thank you very much for your time, for giving us your time. And I would like to appreciate the Njenje Media TV for sponsoring this program and everyone that has contributed to the success of this program. Thank you very much, and see you in the next program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you all. It's a pleasure meeting you all.
Bye.
Okay, then.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Oh, are they here? Yes, sir. Since when? You just come
Just
in
now, sir.
See somebody here when you enter.
Yes.
A man or woman?
Woman.
What did that come do?
We can't see this man with the.
Because Mr. David.
I can't see most.